Hello, this is 100 self-help books. Welcome to my video.
I think we can easily fall into the same patterns of thinking and doing over and over again. Once we are used to doing things in one way, we don't really question it anymore. The problem is that almost always our ways of doing things are suboptimal in one way or another. We could be doing things in a better way without knowing about it. This is why sometimes we need to shake ourselves a bit and bring new stimuli in our lives in order to challenge our old presuppositions. This is my attempt to break off the habit loop and cause a little disarray to my daily structure in order to benefit in the long run. In fire one can see the truth.
Today we are returning to the roots of this channel, where it all started from. That's right, doing stupid shit. Working 100 hours, that's a mere beginning. Some people might even consider it to be a normal work week. Me grumbling on about how difficult that is. Pathetic. I must redeem my ways. I must showcase that I am worthy of the title of a real hustler. See, a true hustler doesn't just work 100 hours in a week and then suddenly stop. A true hustler never stops the grind. A true hustler doesn't care what the consequences of his working might be for his family life or his social life. It doesn't matter. Physical health, stress levels, none of that arbitrary stuff matters. The hustling itself is the highest virtue. So this time I will plunge on to a real challenge, a confrontation that will test the limits of any sane man. That's right, reading self-help. And not only am I going to read one self-help book, I am going to read 100 self-help books. Yeah, it's actually going to be 100 self-help book summaries. I really don't have the time to read 100 actual full-length books. I can guarantee you that 100 summaries is plenty enough of self-help, okay? Besides, even if I read 100 full-length books, it would only be a start. It would only be a scratch in the surface of self-help. Because the genre is huge, it's immense. There are so many goddamn self-help books these days. Honestly, as a reader, there's no hope of doing all that. I mean, there are already 1,725 books just on the best self-help books shelf on Goodreads. I mean, let's be honest here, the typical self-help book revolves around the same ideas over and over again. Like, be the best version of yourself that you can be every day. Strive for success. Hard work pays off. It's the same old, over and over again in a different form. And not even that different. So this is me reading 100 self-help book summaries because apparently I have nothing better to do. So I just finished the first book and basically I'm already fucked. I had booked 30 minutes to read the book, but it took me 90 minutes. So I really don't have time to put 90 minutes into each book. That would take me 150 hours. I have 50 hours to do this. I have 2 weeks. I think I might need to find ways to spend less time on each book. I'm kind of afraid, since many books in this challenge are very popular and considered as classics, I will have a hard time trying to go through them fast. These ideas are already in condensed form, so when you want to kind of go through them in a good way, you have to give them thinking time. Otherwise you're just reading sentences and you're learning nothing. That's it. I actually need this so you can see my face. And so far I have read 15 summaries. So right now the average is probably 45 minutes per book. And it wouldn't be a problem in itself, but I do have other things to do. For example, today I woke up at 6:30. I went for a run. I came back an hour later. I started my work at 8.
I finished at 4 p.m. and then I basically started reading these books. It took me 3 hours. It's 7 p.m. and I'm really done because my day has already been 12 hours. So this is pretty much the maximum that I can do right now. But the thing is that I had booked 2 weeks for this challenge. So right now, if we do the calculations, I'm reading 5 books per day, which just isn't enough. So we're going to continue tomorrow. Anyways, good night.
Yeah, my trip isn't going exactly as planned. Right now I'm here in this pretty great bridge. So I was supposed to come here and take some drone footage. But first of all, my drone batteries are too cold to operate. Second of all, I don't have internet on my phone here. It doesn't work, so it's impossible for me to take any drone material whatsoever, which is great. On top of that, I forgot my spoon fork, so I'm just kind of figuring out how to eat. But otherwise, it's going pretty good.
Come on, you can do it.
I don't want to do it.
I think I've hit the point of reading self-help that the more I read it, the worse my life becomes.
I'm really starting to feel that's all. I'm starting to feel the weight of self-help. A certain kind of numbness just starts to emerge. Now, I'm not saying that the good books aren't good anymore. What I'm saying is that the bad books are horrible. The bad books are becoming almost unbearable. I'm still enjoying a good book that comes every now and then, but I'm losing focus and I'm losing it big time. As I'm reading the bad books, I'm just so uninterested in it that I find myself spending a lot of time in those books, which is kind of paradoxical. I think we've all experienced this. We're extremely slow doing the things we don't want to do because we get so easily distracted by everything else because literally anything else is more interesting. So today is day 9, I think. I still have over 50 books to go. And that idea really isn't very exciting to me. But you know what? I set out to do this. No one is forcing me to do this. So I'm finishing it with pride. Well, I don't know about pride. I'm finishing nonetheless.
So after 10 days I had read 50 books. I had 4 days left and I still had another 50 books remaining. So I needed to make some strategic moves. I decided to listen to the remaining 50 book summaries in just the 4 days. I did not know whether it would be possible or not, so here's me trying that out.
Jarvis contends that companies of one should set and define their...
Second, you must commit to actions, not just beliefs. You won't know if something works until you test it. This will help you get out of blue work deliberating and move into red work executing.
Rowing is a beautiful sport that demands intense teamwork and trust. Rowing demands full-body engagement. Polgar began to teach chess to his daughter Susan before she was 4 years old. When Polgar entered her at age 5 in her first chess tournament, Susan had already spent many hundreds of hours in concentrated practice.
The good thing with listening to audiobooks is that you can do it while doing something else. Of course, it's obvious, But listening to 10 audiobooks per day has been so much easier than reading 5 per day. And I'm kind of surprised at that. I guess for me, words written down somehow have more importance. So this has been quite a nice way to end this thing.
So after 4 days I did manage to get the 100 books read or listened. After reading them I actually rated the books. Now the ratings took a long time, so I won't be showing the process in this video. However, I will upload another video where each of the 100 books will be rated and judged. Here are my final thoughts.
I've never been really much of a summary guy. If I read a book, I want to read the whole thing. But this is actually a really good way to see whether you like a book or not. It's a small investment to read the summary, and then if you love it, you can just go ahead and read the book. Personally, I don't want to read any book that I don't really like. So usually I choose carefully what I read. But still, I do make mistakes sometimes, and I hate the feeling of having to put out a book that I haven't finished. Although I think that you should definitely just put the book away if you don't like it. There shouldn't be any obligation to finish a book, but it is a thing. It does bother people, including me. I'm done. I'm not going to read self-help for quite a while. I might stick to fiction. I might stick to reading biology or goddamn something else. But still, I did learn quite a bit, especially from the books that I picked myself, that I knew I wanted to read. They were, with minor exceptions, the best books. For the books that I just listened to, some of them just flew by me and I got nothing out of them. Whereas some books, even in a summary form, were really good and really useful. A few other things that I got out of this is I learned to take less notes. It's kind of a bad habit of mine, I guess, to take a lot of notes. And even though I rated some of this poorly, it doesn't mean that I wouldn't like them in the full form. Some books are just really not meant to be condensed. Other books really work in that way too. Was the challenge worth it? You know what? It was. I wouldn't do it again, but it was. And I hate to say that because it's a cliche. But what I mean by this is that I learned a few things that I wouldn't have learned if I hadn't read the summaries. I'm going to utilize this summary strategy in the future if I'm not sure whether to read a book or not. Otherwise, yeah, there's only so much you can get from condensed form of information. Usually it means that if the same ideas are conveyed in a tighter form, it means that you have to actually think about them more. I'm gonna go live my life now and not read and listen to self-help summaries.
Thanks for watching, I appreciate it. I've been walking for 10 miles. I'm pretty fucking done, okay? My feet are smoosh, but that has nothing to do with this whole video, so maybe I'll just stop talking and let you move on with your life.